privacy is key.
Just a side point, though. For the last few years, the Iranian regime has severely restricted bandwidth inside Iran. It's been one of the ways they fought back against YouTube. So text-only stuff works pretty good on the internet there, but I doubt a lot of people are watching videos. It's just the bandwidth won't be there for it.
Well, even since the protests began, we've seen only about 10% of our normal traffic in Iran.
To come back to your earlier question about comment about the internet enabling this particular uprising. In 1979, the Iranian people had a successful revolution without the internet, and they overthrew an autocratic regime at the time, not necessarily for progressive reasons. Is it possible that the internet this time prevented the revolution from being successful because it enabled the government to identify their enemies one by one?
Well, I was in that revolution, 1979. I was 14 years old and went out with my mother, sister, and brother and celebrated the coming of Khomeini because we did think that he was going to change the world and that Iran would be free, because the idea behind that revolution was that nationalists and leftists and Islamists all came together to bring about that revolution. So the face of it was the Ayatollah Khomeini, but the passion behind it was a lot of human rights people who had, been in the prisons of the Shah who wanted to have freedom. And I bring this up, and I want to leap forward to 2003, because before the occupation of Iraq, we interviewed an Iraqi scholar talking about democracy. And he said that it's not enough for Iraqis to talk about democracy in cyber cafes in Baghdad when on every corner, street corner, there's a mosque and the people of religion are telling people what to do. To me, the 1979 revolution, after it actually formulated, the mosques were the internet. That was where you would go to every street corner and you would get information from the pulpit as to what to do next. So it was very organized. Those mosques still exist. I think that the opportunity still exists, as you showed in your blip. There was like 2 days where there was no blogging, but then it's come back again. I think that there are going to be ways from both sides where the government has a way to restrict and access to different sites, but then on the other side, I think there's now going to be a growth in software that can easily be downloadable to access, different documents. And this is what this person has also been writing about, is all the ways that they have been able to circumvent these censored sites. So I think initially we're seeing that this green revolution has been crushed, but this is absolutely not the end. And one of the clerics who was immediately arrested the week after the election is Hojat Islam Abtahi, who is a prominent blogger. So, they're very much out there, and I think that it's just sort of a lull, because we actually had emailed somebody for an interview today on All Things Considered, and they wrote back and asked if we would stop calling them and stop emailing them until the dust settles. So I think that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, I'd like to make a couple of comments. Going back to 1979, there was an important piece of technology that circulated Khomeini's words. It was called the cassette tape. He was in a refuge in Iraq for 25 years, and the cassette tape was the technology of the time that permitted him to become who he became. That was the first one I wanted to make. The second point is a question. What are the numbers of bloggers in Iran? What are the numbers of people who read those blogs? Because as far as Twitter is concerned, over the weekend, numbers came out that are interesting, that are global numbers that I'm sure you've all seen, that if I remember correctly, 400,000 Twitter users have tweeted 2.5 million times about Iran. those are interesting numbers, but they're on a global scale. I'm interested in what is happening inside the country. It's a country of about 70 million people, just for everybody to get